Good afternoon. Good afternoon and welcome to another of our Webinar Wednesdays. It's great to be here again on National Small Business Week. So my name is Kelly Bearden and I am the director of the CSU Bakersfield Small Business Development Center. And it's great to be here along with a number of our special guests today to help celebrate Small Business Week. Webinar Wednesday is back for the 112th consecutive, I had to look at my calendar, 112th consecutive week since the pandemic really started back in March of 2020. As you know, we're part of the CSU Bakersfield Small Business Development Center. And the CSU Small Business Development Center is in all 50 states. The Small Business Development Center program is a national program. So with that national program, we find a lot of things that help us. And sometimes we even find our right PowerPoint presentation, which is so helpful. It's funny how that thing can slip away from me from time to time. So 3 guests today, we're gonna bring in, I'll even introduce them beforehand. Our 3 guests today are going to be Jay Thompson. It's going to talk about the ERC. Our other look-ins are going to be from Israel Lara. As many of you might have saw that the EIDL program, the COVID EIDL program, is ending for all intents and purposes this coming Friday, May 6th. And it's the last time to get information in and to take care of that. Now, I know many of you are going to be relieved. I'm going to stop talking about one of the greatest loan programs I've seen during my career. And it is ending in 2 days, but we'll get some last minute information on that. And then last, but certainly not least, we can't just go financial on Small Business Week without bringing in some key marketing tips. And we'll bring in our own Maureen Buscher-Dang later to talk about some key social media marketing tips that you can implement in your business today. So with that, and with all of our let's get this show on the road, as my dad used to say. First, let's go to a poll. And our first poll is going to be, of course, on Small Business Week. And I'll launch the poll, and National Small Business Week, and I know we don't need another acronym, began with a presidential proclamation announcing Small Business Week. What year did that happen? What was our first year that we came out where the president said, we need a National Small Business Week, and let's do it in 1963, or 1975, 1986, or was it as late as 2010? So we're looking for what year National Small Business Week. Now, the Small Business Administration, its origin goes back to 1953. So 1953 is when the Small Business Administration started. The presidential proclamation announcing National Small Business Week happened in what year? So we have 34% of you that are participating at this point and have made their wild goose chase guess. You know, that's what it is today. It's Wild Goose Chase Guess Day. Did it happen in 1963, 1975, 1988, or 2010? Your last chance, 53% of you are in. Last chance to jump in on National Small Business Week. When did it begin? And we are going to end the poll right about now with 57% of you participating, and share the results with you. And the results, most of you think that 1988, and 40% of you 1988, we had 33% on 1963, and only 13% on 2000 or 1975, which I think is an artist. But so anyway, the correct answer is 1963. Going back all the way to 1963, the President of the United States has done a proclamation establishing 1 week, usually the first week in May, as being National Small Business Week. So literally, we're up to 59 years of Small Business Week. So thank you for those of you who actually participated in that poll. And since, you know, since doing Webinar Wednesday, many of you have liked our second poll question, where we talked about some of the musical roots of the city of Bakersfield, and really a very musical town, very diverse in many ways. And our second poll question, we've had questions in the past on, of course, many musicians being, of course, the legends from the area, being Merle Haggard and Buck Owens. Also a time when Jimi Hendrix played Bakersfield. So this question is going to be Bob Dylan, who we talked about selling his musical catalog for hundreds of millions of dollars earlier. First played Bakersfield when it was called the Centennial Garden and Convention Center. What year was that? So Bob Dylan has played in Bakersfield on multiple occasions. The first time is the venue was called the Centennial Garden and Convention Center. I think there's a hint there. What year was that? Was it in 1963? Was it in 1994? Was it in the year 2000? So there's a hint there, and that is what is now called the Mechanics Bank Convention Center on Truxton Avenue in downtown Bakersfield. Host great musical acts throughout the year. Bob Dylan first played, at least from the first time from my recollection that I can find any history of Bob Dylan playing. Was it also in 1963? Was it in 1994 or the year 2000? And we have 64% of you participating, which kind of yields that same bit. So we're going to end the poll with 68% of you in and share the results with you immediately. And we have a tie. It's between the year 2000 and the year 1963. 35% of you each suggest that it could have been those 2 years, and also just behind at 29%, 1994. And the correct answer for that is the year 2000. So in that hint was the fact that the Centennial Garden and Convention Center in downtown Bakersfield was known as that venue from the years 1998 to 2005. Before that, in 1962 to 3, it was the Bakersfield Civic Auditorium. 93 to 98, the Bakersfield Convention Center. Since 2005, it was known as the Rabo Theater and Convention Center, which is now the Mechanics Bank as of 2021. So thank you. Thank you for participating. And let's move along. Okay, so let's jump to the very first of our special guests today. And our first guest is going to be a gentleman who really needs no introduction to this program, because he's been on several times and providing his wisdom and really a lot of great information for us. And with that is actually Israel Lara Jr., who has worked with the SBA and has worked with the EIDL program and has worked with many other aspects of SBA for quite a while. Was an SBDC consultant. Hopefully it'll be one again someday. You know, you never know. The more things change, the more they stay the same, is what's been said before. So Israel, welcome and thank you for coming along and bringing in the latest on the EIDL program.
Well, thank you, Kelly and Maureen, for inviting me this afternoon. As part of today's discussion, I want to first of all welcome everybody to National Small Business Week. This is an important week for small businesses, and I encourage you all to participate. If you have not registered to attend these webinars, which are all free to small business owners, please do so at the www.sba.gov. And those who want to participate in our local webinars, we are having one today at 1 o'clock on how to do business with government. And then tomorrow, we'll be having another one at 1 o'clock, business plan development. So those who want to join the Fresno District office locally, 2 webinars, one today and tomorrow, you can go to the website at Fresno District office and you can sign up or just click on the link and then you can join us either today or tomorrow at 1 o'clock. As part of today's presentation, I wanted to go over a couple of things regarding economic injury disaster note. And for those who probably already know, or you already received an email last week, the program is coming to an end. And so we want to make sure that you're aware of what needs to be done in the next couple of weeks. One of the things is COVID idle borrowers have until May 6th to submit any final request for COVID idle increases or reconsideration because funding is running out. So if you have not taken the time to request an increase, you have until this Friday. So please make sure that you submit for your increase through the portal. The portals, again, are going to be available till May 16th. I would highly suggest that you do all of your planning by tomorrow, the latest, so that you can submit in a timely manner by Friday, or even better, by after this webinar. If you have not submitted for a reconsideration or an increase, I would do this as soon as you leave this webinar so that you're in the system, and it would probably take a couple of days for them to submit and process your application. So time is of the essence, so it's very important that you follow the instructions SBA sent you last week through an email. And then we also want to make you aware that all COVID idle borrowers have until May 16th to download their documents from the portal for their files. So this is very important as well, because you're only going to be able to have access to the portal until May 16th to download any of the documents that you supplied SBA. You really want to take a note and make sure if you signed any promissory notes that you are able to download, save those on your desktop, print them out, because you're probably going to need those in reference in the future or for your CPA or accountant for tax purposes. And so you want to keep those with you. Once the portal ends, you're not going to be able to access those, and you'll have to go through other channels will be provided later. But it'd probably be best if you just download those, save them onto your desktop so that you have them available to you as soon as possible. And again, May 16th will be the last day that you'll have access to the portal. Those who are in the process of the reconsideration or increase, please make sure you read all your emails. Many of the loan officers are sending emails this week and next week, trying to close some of those applications and loans. And so you want to make sure that you provide in a timely manner any documents, upload any requests to the portal so that your loan could be processed and approved before May 16th. I just want to remind everyone that on May 16th, you do have to have the promissory notes signed by midnight in order to process the loan. If you're not able to complete that process, then you're probably not going to be able to successfully complete the loan process and receive the funds through the bank. So we want to make sure that those items are done before May 16th. And definitely, if you're not submitted for a request for an increase or reconsideration, please do so by May 6th. But I highly recommend that you do that as soon as possible, depending on where you're at in the queue. It could take a couple of days for your request to be processed. And so we don't want to see that being an issue for you. Again, we want to make sure that you go to the portal. And if you do not have access to the portal or have never visited the portal, you can send an email to fresno@sba.gov and request for the link. And one of our customer services at fresno@sba.gov will send you the link so that you can log into your portal so that you can download any documents or promissory notes or request for an increase or reconsideration. Now, those who receive the decline letter, please follow the instructions provided to you in the decline letter and make sure that you follow those instructions in receiving the process for reconsideration. And so we want to make sure that those items are done no later than this Friday so that you have an opportunity to apply and get those also done. I also want to mention that in March of 2022, the SBA provided additional deferment of principal and interest payments. Many of you are probably going to start needing to make payments during this summer. And so we want to make sure Those who qualify for the 30-month deferment start making plans before the portal shuts down on May 16th, that you create an account through CAFS and pay.gov so that you're able to access your loan information and start making payments. I would probably set up your automatic payments now. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to start making payments today, but at least you can start developing the calendar so that the day that you do want to make your first payment, you can already schedule it in advance. And this way you have access to the CAFs and pay.gov and getting those payments ready to go. You don't want to fall behind, and because the 30-month deferment is coming to an end for some of you who got the loan in the very beginning, please make sure that you use the date that you signed your initial promissory note to make the determination on when your 30 months deferment ends. And so we want to make sure that everybody has access and understands the CAF system and the pay.gov to start making your payments. A final note, we also want to make sure that if you do have any questions here at the Fresno District Office, unfortunately, we do not have the ability to approve any loans, but if you have any questions that is of urgent, you can always reach our loan department at 833-853-5638 or email disastercustomerservice@sba.gov if you're having difficulty submitting for an increase or reconsideration. And then they will be the ones to assist you. If you need those emails or phone numbers or need to recap anything that we've provided you today, please send an email to fresno@sba.gov and one of our representatives will be more than happy to assist you. Again, thank you for allowing us to be part of today's presentation. And I just want to end to make sure that you do register for National Small Business Week. All those webinars are online, free. You can watch those from home. And today at 1 o'clock, we are going to be providing government contracting for those who are wishing to do business with the government. At 1 o'clock, just go to the Fresno District website and log in and you can participate for that webinar. And then tomorrow we'll also be having one at 1 o'clock. Again, just going to the Fresno District Office website and log in, or you can send an email for fresno@sba.gov. But when you do send an email, please provide your first and last name, business address, your questions, and a phone number so that the customer service can reach out to you and provide you the best information as quickly as possible. Again, thank you, Callie and Maureen, and that will conclude my presentation, unless there's some questions or follow-ups.
Well, I do have some questions for you, Israel. Now, you mentioned a little bit, we talked a little bit about some of the tax issues that are going on and some of the tax problems. The first question has to do with that. And I'll just kind of summarize the question, but it was, they had a hand stamp and a few other things that actually were able to get through the IRS district office, local office. But still they have had trouble getting their tax return verified, and it has really kind of stopped the process. Is there any advice you could give on that?
We've had some success stories in the last few months, and those success stories have really come back in the individual themselves going to the IRS and then getting a tax advocate to assist them. And most of the time, those tax advocates were able to figure out what the issue was and resolve it, and then draft a letter to SBA on behalf of the applicant. I know time is of the essence, and I'm not sure how quickly the IRS can schedule a tax advocate to assist you in resolving any of the issues you're having. But I would definitely reach out to the IRS. Again, you have until May 6th. And like I said in the earlier presentation, the time is of the essence. And so I would really reach out to them and find out exactly where you're at. And then send an email. When we were doing the EIDL presentations, we were always making sure that the applicant, if you are having an issue, write a very thorough email explaining your situation, provide the documents so the loan officer can review and see what the issue is. And if you have any letters or documentation directly from the IRS, I would include that in the email and explain your issue so that the loan officer can go back and maybe review your case, reopen it, and see if there's a determination of maybe reviewing and then maybe approving your loan. But I would definitely take every course of action that is available to you to get this loan approved.
The next question has to do with a not eligible when asking for a loan increase. Per webinar Wednesday advice, they contacted a EIDL customer service and they were asked to provide a business activity explanation. Can you explain what that is?
So the business activity is just simply a small version of the business plan. I wouldn't do a 20-page or a 10-page business plan to submit. I would just do the synopsis of the activity. And basically, if you're a tire shop, you just want to provide an explanation of when you started the business, what services you provide. The revenue may be a small snippet of the revenue, where you're at with the revenue, where you're located, and how long have you been in business, your experience, and try to do that in a couple of paragraphs in a separate document, not within the email, but I would put that in a separate document. If you have a letterhead for the business, I would definitely use your letterhead and then put all your contact information in your letter explaining what activities your business does, so that the loan officer knows that you are a legitimate business, you are doing activities within the city or county that you're working for, and then any supporting documents that support the legitimacy of your business will also be helpful.
Okay, great. And that kind of kills the next question too. That's taken out 2 and 1, because the next one was to do with the business plan. Next question would be, someone is asking why the paperwork takes so long. They've sent it in multiple times and still don't get a response. Any suggestion for them?
So most of the time when it's taking a little bit longer, or the loan officer is not understanding the context of the information being provided, that's why I always tell our clients, when you're applying, because I always remind clients, this is a $2 million program. So everybody automatically is pre-approved for $2 million. And so if you're going to be applying for $2 million, you want to be providing very thorough, detailed emails with clear explanations. When you're sending the emails, I always recommend you have someone else read them to them. And if they're having difficulties understanding what's on the email, the loan officer is also going to have an issue understanding. So you really want to take your time in providing thorough, detailed emails and the explanations and any supporting documents that's going to support your business and the ability to get these loans approved. So it's very important that you take your time, read those emails, formulate them so that you have a better chance of getting approved. And again, this is a $2 million program. And so a lot of the emails that I've seen are 1 or 2 sentences, or what I like to say is, well, I got a couple of emails, well, not a couple, I got many emails where it says, here is a document, thank you. And so if you're applying for $2 million and you're sending me an email with 1 sentence, unfortunately, I don't think the loan officer is going to approve your loan. And so you really need to take your time and submit a very thoughtful email so that the loan officer understands and provides, and you need to provide the documents supporting why you need that loan.
Israel, and the last one I have for you is the individual missed an previous email for the loan portal. Is it possible for you to send it again?
So for those, you need to send an email to fresno.sba.gov. Make sure you put the business information, the application number, and one of our customer services at the Fresno District office can probably assist you in retrieving or looking over the notes to make sure that you're going in the right direction. Again, it's fresno.sba.gov, and one of our customer service representatives will assist you in making sure that the notes that are on your loan platform are you're following their instructions and see what the status of your loan. So if you do need an update on your loan, fresno.sba.gov, application number, business address, your first and last name, and for security purposes, they will be asking you a couple of questions. So be prepared to answer those questions so that they know that it is you, the loan, it belongs to you, and so they can process you in a timely manner.
Okay, great. The last question was, I think, similar to the one that you answered with it was declined because the numbers were pulled from the IRS. And really the last bit of advice for that would be probably to call them right now, this very moment, and try to meet with the taxpayer advocate to get any tax issues resolved. I understand that the remote work really isn't that ideally situated for IRS, where you're dealing with highly financial confidential information from people working at home. And I could see why you could have so many issues with trying to get that information, and especially once you've had a problem. But Israel, great. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for answering those questions. And hope to talk to you soon about another program, maybe something else down the road.
Thank you, both you and Callie, and hopefully everybody enjoys National Small Business Week. And I will stay on if there's any additional questions at the end, if you don't mind, Callie.
Okay, great. Well, thank you, Israel. Appreciate it. Okay, so I don't know. I guess I've had a problem with my screen being shared. I don't know if you're seeing it now. Probably not. So
Yes,
you are. Wow.
yes.
Wow, the PowerPoint gremlins went away.
Woohoo!
Okay, so well, there's what I was talking about a little bit later, and you already heard all that stuff. So bye-bye COVID idle. It's been fun. Last number report I looked at was back, the last report shared by SBA was back at the end of April, and it was about $378 billion. $378 billion were actually processed in the idle. You know, I'm going to just jump right here down to the middle one, the employee retention tax credit, and bring in Mr. Jay Thompson. And Jay as lead consultant for the CSUB SBDC. A lot of financial issues, a lot of clients. Actually, I must admit, is an award winner during Small Business Week this year himself as the Center Impact Award for the CSU Bakersfield SBDC covering Kern, Inyo, and Mono counties. Congratulations, Jay. Enlighten us on the ERC, please.
Well, hello, everybody, and thank you, Kelly, for that introduction. Yeah, I'm excited to be with you and to talk about the ERC. And let me share my screen because I do have something to share with you. I'll bring that up real quick. This is the flyer that I had found on the IRS website. But anyways, everybody's heard about the EIDL and the PPP, but you probably haven't heard so much about the ERTC, or the employee retention credit. So if you are an employer and you've not seriously looked at this credit, you're really missing the boat. It just seems to be falling through the cracks. So we're going to bring it in front of you again here. Originally with the ERC, you had to choose between the PPP and the ERC, but they changed the rules and now you can possibly qualify for both. So how do you qualify for it? Well, was your business, was it shut down by the government due to the pandemic? Were your gross receipts down at least 20% in 21 compared to the same quarter in 2019? Or did you have any supply chain issues where you weren't getting the product you needed? If any of those are yes, then you probably qualify. Also, if you got the PPP loan, you probably qualify. So the employee retention tax credit is up to $10,000 per employee per quarter. And this excludes related individuals and those that own more than 50% of a business. So if you're the business owner, you probably don't qualify, but if you had employees, you probably do. So how do you calculate your credit? Well, you look at your payroll for the qualifying quarter, you multiply that number by 70%, and that's your credit amount. So if you had a full payroll of $10,000 or more in that quarter, the cap is 10,000, 70% of that would be 7,000. And if you qualified for 4 quarters, that's $28,000. One of our SBDC clients received almost $200,000 in credit, in money back for this. Now, this is a refundable credit, so you will get a check from the IRS for this money. So how do you get the credit? Well, you need to file a form 941X. 941X is a form that amends the 941 that was filed for your original payroll. If your accountant or tax advisor hasn't brought this to your attention, you need to ask them about it. And if you don't get the answer you want, you need to go get a second opinion. Now, one thing I do want to mention is you need to be aware that there's service companies or so-called service companies out there that will be offering to do this for you. And some of them charge a pretty large percentage of the credit received. So I saw one case where a business qualified for $100,000 credit and they paid $20,000 at 20% to have the form completed for them. Now, the form isn't overly complicated, but if you're not used to filing payroll reports and forms, I would suggest that you have a professional do it, and they should charge you, but it should be a reasonable fee. Okay. And yeah, you just really want to make sure you don't overpay. So my suggestion is that you go first to whoever's doing your payroll. If you're doing your own payroll and you're used to doing that every quarter and you feel comfortable, we'll go ahead. You can even find videos, tutorials on YouTube that'll help you with that. But it's a serious amount of money. And for the amount of money involved, it's probably best to have a professional help you with that. So that's pretty much all I have on this. And we're happy to take questions, but I think that where you want to start is with your payroll provider.
Well, great. Well, thanks, Jay. And also, Maureen has added the flyer, the ERC flyer that is from the IRS in the chat that you can pull open. I was not able to get that up and share it with everybody. I apologize for that. Those Small Business Week ribbons are really at work today. So Jay, thank you so much. Let me do one last check to see if we have any questions on this, and we don't. So thank you so much, and let's move along.
All right.
See, one of the great missed opportunities potentially if you have the opportunity to actually claim that particular credit. So moving right along and getting back, we do have a number of other programs that we talk about on a weekly basis. And we talk about those. The main one is that California Dream Fund, which is kind of in the prime right now. And that's for new business starts where you can get $5,000 to $10,000. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to email the CA SBDC at ucmerced.edu. Also, our Kern County Micro Grant program is open. There have been program changes, a new application form, more mandated regulations. The program has come along a little slower than we had hoped and anticipated in funding micro businesses in Kern County, but it is beginning now. So maybe it's going to be the old dam breaking and the flood coming out now that has happened. Mono County's program is still going on, and we're looking forward to that. And you see a number of the other programs that we have that are available. So a number of programs we talk about on a fairly regular basis, and we'll continue to kind of go through those programs as an on-needed basis over the next coming weeks. But for now, let's bring in our third live look-in, as we like to call it, and that is going to be our own producer, Maureen Buscher-Dang, marketing consultant at the SBDC. And Maureen is going to share with us some marketing tips for Small Business Week. Maureen, I would say thank you for joining us, but you're always joining us.
Okay, can you see me and hear me to start with?
You are seen, yes.
Okay, now I'm hoping to avoid the gremlins here. I was answering somebody in chat, so let me get out of there. Stop screen sharing. I'm stopping your screen sharing. I'm pulling up mine.
Beat you to it.
There we go. Please tell me you can see it.
You got it.
All right. Love it when a plan comes together. All right. So, whoops. It did not like what I just did. Here we go. Let's see if I can move along here. All right. So what we're going to be talking about today is on Google My Business posts. And Kelly wanted to do a little, like about a 5-minute marketing, more than a minute, but 5 minutes of marketing. So the thing is, through the SBDC, we post every week. I post usually on Mondays and Tuesdays for the webinar Wednesday. And so it's across all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter, and then Google My Business is included in that. The neat thing is, I don't think a lot of businesses use it as much as they should. It's free. I'm going to show you how it's going to help with your search engine optimization. And let's get rolling here. So some of the benefits of posting, by the way, this is assuming you already have claimed your business on Google My Business, or on Google rather. And if you have not, then I would encourage you to do that. We do have a past webinar where Tiffany had explained how to claim your business, but if it's something you need to know, you can always sign up with the SBDC and we can help you on that. At any rate, so some of the benefits of posting on your Google My Business, or GMB as we're going to refer to it, is it helps improve your search engine optimization and your online visibility at a local level. Then one of the things you can do with it is you can direct traffic to specific pages of your website. And so this will boost your website's rankings. So in my case, for the SBDC, when we're posting, I have 2 links, and I'll show it to you here in a second, that I always include in the text of the post. One of them is to a link to register for this webinar, and then the other one is for to go to our website. A lot of times I'll pick a specific page on there. Google likes this because they always want fresh content. I mean, Google's this faceless, machine basically that's always hungry for content, and it needs new content. New content that's frequent, like once a week, really helps with your SEO and boosts your rankings. The other thing you can do with the posts on Google My Business is you can engage clients and invite responses. That helps the algorithm too. And then I always like this, we'll probably do a webinar on this later, is you can use it to build your email list. So the way you do that, when you post something in there, I always like to create a landing page like on the website, or you may already have one there, where maybe you're going to be talking about something that you're offering through your business or an event. And if people are interested or want to know more about it, you have a landing page where maybe there's a registration form or something you can collect information, and then you can add them to your platform that you use. In our case, we use Constant Contact. Some of my clients use that, or MailChimp. Anyway, so here's an example that I pulled up to kind of show you what it looks like, because not everybody knows what those posts look like. So this is an example where, all right, somebody probably spoke into their phone, carpenter near me. So Google pulled up, as you can see on the left-hand side, 2 companies have paid for the ads, but then Green Mountain Carpentry comes up. If you go to the center there over here, then you see that where I'm using my arrow here on here. This business has 2 posts there where it has photographs. Those obviously are not iStock photos. We usually use iStock photos, but the neat thing with your business is you can use photos that you take. People see they're real, they can relate to it. And in this case, it's important, with carpentry, this looks like they were talking about projects that they did. And so it's something of interest, right? So there's kind of some elements to keep in mind when you're looking to do posts on your page. And so I'm just going to rattle off a couple of them for you. One of them is only the first 10 words are going to display, they're like a teaser. So that then the reader is prompted to read on, it'll just say, like read more. And then the limit in the number of what you can put in the text box is 1,500 characters. Now that's the bane of my existence sometimes with the webinars, because it'll tell me if I go past 1,500 characters and then I have to, whittle it down. So I'll toss it into Word, because there, who the heck knows how many 1,500 characters are, right? you can actually go into Word and it'll show you, how many characters you're using. Basically, that's about 250 words roughly. Okay, the next thing is don't get pitchy. Nobody wants to be sold every time. They want to be educated or entertained. So like in the case of our, there's all kinds of stuff that you can do, whether it's, Mother's Day dinners or lunches that you're having. I know I saw for Eureka's, they had something up on theirs for Mother's Day coming up, and it was positively drool worthy when I was looking at it. You may argue that that's selling, but that's promoting something where people are looking for stuff for Mother's Day, right? So they took advantage of an event and created something for that. You also want to think as Google My Business as a channel for branding. Remember, it's really the impact is locally, but it's a form of branding for your business. And then the other thing that's important that you should post on Google My Business once a week, because your post will disappear after 7 days. The other thing is, a lot of times when I'm working with my clients, I'll talk to them about even keeping something fresh on their website, where the way that algorithm works is it wants to see fresh content, and the minimum is like once a week. So rather than trying to go back and forth between this presentation here and then live, and I'm glad I didn't today considering the gremlins we've got, is I took a screenshot of what I posted yesterday on our Google My Business page, or so you can see what I used. It's everything that probably everybody's seen, because I like to have consistency in terms of the photo that we use for today's webinar. You can see in there. So this was an event. See, if you look up here where you can see all offers, what's new events, and I think there's probably a couple more in there, but I posted this under event, and it will allow you to put, the time in here. Here's where I was talking about that I put, a link that I can track back to this posting if anybody wanted to register from here. And then this would take somebody to our website. I could even share the post if I wanted to across other platforms. And then over here, there's all kinds of information that I won't get into because I'm looking at the time here. I want to wrap it up. But where over here on the side, you can look on insights, and it tells you all kinds of nifty information. So one of the things I wanted you to see is, remember I told you we post every week. Well, I went down here to the insights, and this shows photo views. And so I always have photos. Don't just post text, always have some kind of photo. You can do video too. And in this instance, this shows the CSUB SBDC, where we have, if you look down here, 4,500 more views than similar businesses. I know it looks like nobody really puts them up there, and maybe that's the case, but see, ours is all over the map, and we're getting a lot of good information coming out of this. More importantly, people calling us, they found us. We're driving them to the website, hopefully to some of the webinars. So we've got activity going on. I like what I see here compared to ours. It says, 6,300 versus other businesses like us, 135. So I was really pretty jazzed with those numbers. Okay, I'm wrapping it up, Kelly. I can feel you in my head here. So ideas for posts. A lot of times, especially when I'm dealing with clients, we all have this problem trying to come up with fresh ideas for what to use in posts. So I pulled this up from a website called hypatrix.com, and I'm only using like 4 here. They had a really good list of all kinds of ideas for posts, but these are ones that are pretty easy to use. So anything from like I can't talk. Tips and tricks, say that 3 times real fast, about your services, your business, your products, link to them on your website, in my mind. So you might want to point out something, I don't know, if you're a paint store and, when the new colors come out, the first of the year, the Pantone colors, then you may have that on your website and have a link to that and send people there. All right, another item is, I saw one where it was a before and after. I've seen a lot of those where this one company here in town they rework the surface of floors and so forth, and they'll show a before and after. it's pretty interesting. It's pretty dramatic when you see it. Another one is if your employees are working on projects, it's nice to see people in action. Just make sure that they don't have a like they're not frowning or they have a weird look on their face, like they're enjoying what they're doing. And then really important are client success stories or even testimonials with their face or even videos of it. Everybody loves a good testimonial. So, and that's it, Kelly. I'm turning it back to you.
Well, thank you. Those are some great tips, for social media marketing here during Small Business Week. Just to wrap up, we talked a little bit about, and we do have a question that we'll get to in just a second, but we did talk a little bit about Small Business Week and the awards that are going on. And so, with Small Business Week, one of the things that we definitely see is we see an opportunity from SBA to actually name a National Small Business of the Year. And again, that Small Business of the Year is not going to be some type of a beauty contest or a financial beauty contest based on your results. Oftentimes, one of the things that they do is they provide a lot of community involvement and a lot of community awareness and things like that. So every state in the union has a state Small Business of the Year, of which on this website of SBA, you can see who those are. And so we continue to go down and we see, state by state, which one. In California, there was one out of San Diego called Vet Powered LLC. We won't have time to go to their website, but they do a lot of services for vets and the veterans that have come back in the machining and actually manufacturing segment. But you can see state by state, it varies dramatically. You have a state winner that can be a veterinarian hospital. A lot of them could be food related. A lot of them could be other types of businesses that are out there. So, but it seems like one common thread between all of these state Small Businesses of the Year is that there is a community aspect to them that gives back. So just kind of sharing with that. Tomorrow that announcement is going to be made, and there's a meat company in Kansas. That shouldn't surprise a lot of people. A smoked meat company. And from Maine, Garbage to Garden is the name of the business. And we won't have time to go jump in and look at some of these. But again, that is going to be our National Small Business of the Year and where that comes from. So just to share that with you, that tomorrow, they will be formally recognized as that small business. So I guess my lesson in all this to you out there is I want to nominate you for National Small Business of the Year next year. So that process begins in December, in January of the following year. So keep that in mind. If you want to think your business could benefit from a little recognition on a national or even a county level from this County of Kern Award program that we hope to have. And it's just to recognize the importance of small business and some of the related factors. Okay, one question here on the ERC. Jay, you can jump back in real quick. We have a question here from Joe, and he asked, how far back can you go for the employee retention credit?
It goes back to March 12th of 2020. Okay,
great. So it goes back that far.
Yeah, March 12th of 2020 through December 31st of 2020, and then 2021.
Okay, great. Well, there you go, Joe. Okay, well, that's going to wrap it up for Small Business Week and our Small Business Week webinar Wednesday this year. Thank you for all the live look-ins from Israel, and Jay, and Maureen, and really appreciate all the great stuff that small businesses are doing and the services they're providing, the products that they're providing to so many different areas of our three-county region here in Kern, Inyo, and Mono. You get into the rural areas and you really appreciate what happens. And, you go back into Inyo County and you see that there is one movie theater. And that one movie theater with some of the programs helped to survive a very difficult period of time. And one movie theater in an entire county. So you see a lot of the benefits that small businesses provide. So thank you, all of you, for what you do. Kelly Bearden here. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye, everybody.